Hi guys, welcome back. So in today's video, as you can probably tell from the title, this is a little army update on everything that has been going on. It has been such a crazy week, so incredibly stressful. It was so odd. As soon as all of this happened, I got ill, so I do apologize if I sound a little bit a little bit croaky, but yeah, I have a few things to tell you guys. I was contacted by the army. They basically told me that I still needed to get my science, so I have all of the grades that I needed. Two of them they didn't even accept because it's a BTEC, which is completely crazy for me because I took them as a GCSE. I do not see the point in taking GCSE BTEC if no one's going to accept it. So that was something that was a little bit frustrating. So then I had to gather up other grades, and I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, when I was actually taking my GCSEs, I was probably going through the worst period of my life. I didn't do the best that I could possibly do. I didn't come out with the best grades. I went to college and I got so much better grades, and also went to university. Apparently those don't really count, just GCSEs. And so it's been incredibly difficult to get the GCSEs that I actually need when they don't accept two of them. Even at the start of my application, I knew that I had to get science for this role. They offered me the chance to do a waiver. So this is basically where they shade your grade if you give a valid reason. I did all of that. My waiver was accepted, but when I applied for intelligence, they called me up and basically said that they will not shade it, and that's it. The army, as we all can probably imagine, has got a lot more applicants, like so many other jobs since COVID, people losing their jobs and things, and so they are able to be a lot more picky with who they basically let in. My role that I would like to do is intelligence, and from the start they said to me how difficult it is to actually get in, but when they told me that, they just pretty bluntly said to me that I couldn't go for intelligence, and that was it. They just basically gave me the list of the other roles to do, and it was just so strange, like how casually I was told that I couldn't do the job that I really wanted to do, and just to basically move on and get another job. And I just think this is the army. Like, when you finish training, you sign a 3-year contract to do the role that you're choosing to do, and to do something that you don't want to do is a pretty long time. And so it was quite a hard thing to swallow. And I said to them, what if I did get my GCSE science? Because that is what I'm missing. I had my heart so set on intelligence that it was really difficult to hear that I wouldn't be able to go for it and that I should just choose something else. They told me all the different roles, and I just thought, my gosh, like, what am I going to do now? I've been in this process for over a year, coming close to a year and a half, and I just feel like there's been so many hurdles, there's been so many miscommunications, everything's not days, not weeks, it's months just to get through one other step. And so this whole process has just been absolutely agonizing. I'm not saying that the army is like this for every single applicant. I just think it depends on which role you're going for and how many spaces they have. And so that's basically what they also said to me. They said, oh, and as you probably have heard on the news, the army's completely cutting roles. Yes, I did hear that, but I wasn't really expecting me to be necessarily affected because I am quite far on in the process. Like, I've done my interviews and medicals and assessments, and then I'm at that phase where if I want to go into intelligence, I need to take a whole other assessment day. That will determine if I can actually go for intelligence or not. Or I could choose to do a different role. Depending on that role, I could go straight into training. So I felt like I was quite far along in the process. So I didn't know that I would be affected by it, but they said it was basically put in place straight away. When you do join the army, they do ask you to make like a plan B and maybe a plan C. I did have those things in place, and I was told that every single one of them, including intelligence, will not be open until earliest next March. And so it was really difficult to even hear that, because I have been already in a year in this process, and just to wait another whole year to do something that I really, really want to do. Yeah, it was a really difficult situation, but then I think, well, if I'm going through this, I'm sure so many other people are going through this too, but then you need to think, okay, so I can't go for the role that I want to do, I can't go for the roles that kind of interest me too, so I have to go for something that I really don't like. or doesn't really interest me. Then they were just going through the roles with me, and there was infantry, there was most of logistics, cyber engineer, and I thought, cyber engineer, okay, I could do that. But then I knew for a fact that wasn't actually something that I wanted to do. But I'm at that place where I just want to get in. I'm just so sick of this process and just being left in limbo. That's really what it feels like. So I just really want to get in, but then I need to weigh up the odds of, is it worth waiting a whole year where I could get my science and I could do my intelligence assessment day to see if I could even get in. The man that I was speaking to actually said so many people's roles are not taking people till next year, and I'm just thinking, well, we're only just halfway through this year. Like, waiting at least 6 months because everything's full is just completely crazy. But he was saying to everybody that, you know, just get in and you're in. And so I thought, okay, that's good. I was like asking him loads of questions like, can I get my GCSEs before I get in, or can I do it while I'm training? And he said, yes, you can do all those things, or you can wait for the army to pay for it. He was saying that so many of his friends had gone in as a role and changed to something completely different. He was saying that he actually went in as a chef, and then he did a bit of logistics and he did a bit of other things too. And so he made it seem like it was very easy to move around. I thought, okay, so if I just do something I don't really like, I could just suck it up for a year, do training and everything else. You know, what's a year? At least I'm in, kind of thing. I said, you know, if I did go for cyber engineer and I did my intelligence assessment day, because you have to do another 3-day intelligence assessment. I don't know all of the COVID regulations and how all of that is going at the moment, but I was told it's 3 days, and that's where they determine if you are good enough to be in intelligence. You know, if I pass that, can I just easily transfer? And he was just saying yes, yes. And I said, okay. I was writing down a load of questions about what the cyber engineer role really consists of, because it does have a bit of a description online, but I wanted to know a little bit more in detail, like what they do day to day, because it's a big decision just to jump in it and not really know too much about it. We did speak a few times that day because we were just trying to sort all this out, and when I did call him up to ask some of these questions, he just pretty much brushed me off, kind of thing, you know, just kind of rushed me off the phone, so I didn't get to ask all of the questions. I'm sure he was busy, but you know, when you're trying to sort out your life, it was, you know, it wasn't really nice to be completely rushed off. I called up the main army centre and was asking again about the different roles, just to figure out like what my options are. My hope was that I was going to get in sometime during the summer, because I do feel like I'm far off from this process, and I just think, oh, and I just didn't think that it was going to be much longer. He was the one that basically said to me, intelligence is really full. There's a ton of people waiting in front of me to get in. I still need to get my GCSE, and even the March slots were getting filled up. By the time I've done my GCSE and have passed assessment date, I'm going to be looking until at least a year's time, a full year's time, like next June, July time. It was a little bit longer. I just feel like there was so many different conversations between so many people, because you have the centre which is close to you who you can call, and then you have the main army centre. They just had all sorts of different information, so it was so confusing, like what was what. When I was asking about the intelligence, what I need to basically do to prepare myself for intelligence, I was getting all sorts of different information. They were saying you should focus on military focused current affairs, and then someone else was saying no, it's just BBC News and very publicised current affairs, nothing to do with military, you won't be asked anything to do with military. And I thought that was really odd, and it's just completely two different conversations. That's what I've really noticed throughout my process, is that different people do call you up and some have different information. It just gets really confusing and you don't even know what to prepare for in the end. Also, when I was speaking to this man, he said to me, no, you can't just easily transfer over, because you go through training and then they train you up, which I completely understood. I thought, yeah, well, if they're going to train you up and put money and time and effort into training you, you can't just pick up and leave to a different role. And he said, well, it's going to be at least 4 to 5 years before you can even move. And if they need you, then you'll have to stay. And I thought, oh, well, that's a little bit of a bigger commitment. So just within the past week, me having this image in my head that everything was going smoothly, I'm going to get in, and you know, things will be a lot easier, to where I am now, like just within the space of 2 days, I was basically told that intelligence won't let me in, and intelligence isn't going to be open till at least next March, June, July, whenever time next year. And the worry is that just waiting a whole year, like so many things have gone wrong throughout this process, and it's put months and months and months to my process. What I'm a bit worried about is doing the whole year and like finding things to do, of course, in the meantime, but waiting the whole year and then they tell me that the slots are full again and I'm gonna have to wait another 6 months or something like that. So that's on one hand. Or, like the man said, I do something that doesn't interest me, which I could enjoy, but I think when you're in my position, when you haven't been experiencing lots of different roles, you need to read the job description and you need to make sure that it actually sounds exciting to you. That's why I went for intelligence, because it really did excite me and I could see myself doing it and enjoying it and just being happy in that role. But I just did not get that feeling for cyber engineer. And so it's just weighing up the odd of waiting the year and seeing if I, you know, if things get postponed, or COVID issues, or that postpones everything else, or to do 4 to 5 years in a job that I may not enjoy but I can't get out of because you are tied to a contract for 3 years. That is such a big decision to make. When I spoke to all of my family about this, at first they were like, my gosh, it actually feels like you shouldn't go to the army, because so many things have been against me throughout this whole process. It's just another hurdle. They just think, well, you've been doing this for a whole year, why don't you just get a normal civilian job and, you know, just kind of be done with it. But I just thought, I really do appreciate my family's opinion and people who are older's opinion, because they have more life experience than I do, and so I do really appreciate that, and they may be able to see things that I don't necessarily see, which is why I always take their opinions and feelings into consideration. But in this is something that I actually really feel like I need to do. It's just such a crazy feeling, but I really feel like I need to go and need to do it, and I just cannot completely sack in the whole process without even trying to get in and trying to get in for that role. So that is basically where we're at. I don't want to keep rambling on, but yeah, there's some pretty difficult decisions to be made pretty soon, and a lot's going to change, but all of it is really upsetting. It just feels really difficult at the moment because I feel like this has all happened so quickly. This whole process has taken so long, yet it all just came crashing down in a complete second. But at the end of the day, it's just one of these things, and I know that it's all gonna work out in the end. It's just gonna be another difficult road until we do get there, but when I get in, it's definitely gonna be worth it. But yeah, I thought I'd keep you guys updated on everything that's going on. Fingers crossed for better times real soon. And I'll see you guys soon.